My friends, the great experiment.
Prodigy.
Prodigy. Hidden. Trick.
Would you look at that?
The greatest trick.
And you people, you're all astronauts on some kind of star trek.
The greatest trick.
Welcome to Greatest Trek. It's a new Star Trek podcast from the makers of The Greatest Generation. I'm Adam Pranica.
I'm Ben Harrison. Penultimate episode. Adam, I can't believe this might be it.
I love that word. We get to use it a lot on this show.
Did I ever tell you about the time in college I was working on a script in a screenwriting class? And you would bring your script in. You'd assign all the characters to people in class, do a reading of it, and then take feedback from the class and the professor. And I was handing out my packets to the class one time, and I was like, I think this is the penultimate draft of this script. And the professor said, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, I'll take the feedback from this class and see what I can do to incorporate it, but I don't want to keep working on it after one more edit pass. And he said, good answer. And I realized he was just testing to see if I knew what penultimate meant.
Well, you see, Professor, I will graduate into a life of filename _ final _ final 2.0 _ final, etc. It's important to set boundaries like penultimate can do.
Yeah.
Do you think it's fun to be a teacher when you get those opportunities? Like, you know that professor, when he asked that question, was like, this fucking guy.
Yeah.
I got him.
I mean,
no one's got you.
In his defense, I was an idiot in college, and many would argue still am.
We've all been there.
And the script I was writing, it was a class that was nominally, the idea of this class was you're in sophomore year, you are starting to think about the color sync you'll be directing next year and trying to get a script together for that. So this is the screenwriting class where you're going to make the script that you will hopefully shoot in your big production class next year. And my script was about some guys that get attacked by a bear in the woods. And he was like, you can't shoot this. Like, you're not going to get a bear. You're not going to get a bear costume that looks good. Like, you're wasting your time, essentially, was his criticism of my script from the beginning.
What little imagination this professor had.
I know. I could have done something with it.
Hey, could you lay a title on us? It had to have a snazzy title, didn't it?
I don't remember the title of that one. The color sync I did wind up making was called The Ninja and the Pirate, and it was a very grand political spoof. There was a lot of Fox News TV debates between ninjas and pirates.
So you've been like this for a long time.
Yeah. It's at least, the early aughts.
Who was the pirate and who was the ninja in the Hannity and Colmes-ification of this?
I think the ninja was our hero and the pirate was the villain.
That makes sense.
The ninja spoke only in haiku, which was a very fun writing constraint in the
I bet.
In the dialogue. He always had to say kind of a lot. You couldn't,
It made them seem wise because it was very measured in that way.
Mm-hmm. The guy that played the pirate went on to be a pretty successful Hollywood screenwriter. He wrote a movie with Natalie Portman in it.
How about that?
So, yeah, he's still kicking around. Actually, his wife had a little part, I want to say, maybe Star Trek Picard, one of the new Star Treks. There's a shot of a pregnant woman in a shuttle bay assigning cadets to various shuttlecrafts. And a college chum of mine who was college sweethearts with the guy that played the pirate in my pirate movie was in that scene, pregnant with their first kid.
Wow.
Yeah. I wish I remembered which show that was. It's embarrassing.
I mean, you just have to flip through the different versions of sadness that new Star Trek often relates to in order to keep things organized in your head.
Yeah.
Prepartum sadness, probably the version at hand in that particular scene.
Yeah, I think so.
Is there a version of that what a postpartum I've heard of. Like you've had the baby. Oh, what is my life for now?
Yeah.
Is there like pre where you're like, oh, I'm uncomfortable and sad? Is that a thing?
I mean, I don't know if it's like clinicalized to the extent that there's a name for it, but it's definitely a thing. It fucking sucks being pregnant.
Yeah, it does not look comfortable or fun on so many levels.
The number of absolutely insane pillows in my bed toward the end of that were all there in service of like, providing the flying buttresses needed to keep a slumbering body that was housing an entire other person's body supported.
Do the pillows remain?
We're down to our last extra pillow, and I think it's just for like overnight nursing. But I got my eye on that thing. That thing is once I get the go ahead, I'm throwing that thing in the wood chipper,
Oh, what a mess. Then you're making that spray foam that they made the mistake with in Star Trek Enterprise. See, crossing references on the show, always dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm going to presume that FODs listen to both.
You better fucking listen to both. What are you doing if you're not listening to both?
Greatest Gen eats the tail of Greatest Trek, which eats the tail of, and so forth, right?
It's a veritable snake eating its tail.
Nailed it, Ben. Let's get into part 1 of whatever this is, which is either snake or second snake. Mm-hmm. That's how it works, right? When you're dealing with an Ouroboros, part 1.
You know the greatest danger facing us is an irrational fear of the unknown.
On our mark, go fast.
I need to admit something to you. I think what I just said was an admission that I believe an Ouroboros is 2 snakes.
Oh, like it's a 69 situation?
It's a 69, except it's 6-6 or 9-9 because they're going in the same direction.
They're going in the same direction.
I'm an idiot. It's 1 snake.
I think sometimes it's depicted as 2 snakes.
Oh, thank God. All right. Okay, you got me off the hook
What
there.
would it be if it was a human centipede? Like if you loop it back around.
Let's play the new hit game show, Is It 69 or Not?
Nice.
I mean, because it's face on, not face contact.
Right.
That would seem to be 69.
Does 69 potentially include analingus?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think so, right?
That's Ouroboros, isn't it?
It's ass eating. It's an ancient symbol for eating that ass.
They had to make them snakes. It's the only way you could carve that into a wall on a building or put it on top of a giant staff as you're marching or whatever.
Because most people just aren't that flexible, so we're not accustomed to seeing it. It would just look weird if it was a person.
Right.
But if we could, I think we all would.
Very inspiring.
Yeah. Asencia is learning about this uprising. I love they're looking off at the distance at the capital city of their planet, which is clearly broken out in unspeakable citywide violence. Violence demanding, ironically, peace. It's another Ouroboros, I believe.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you see the smoke in the distance. It could only mean piles of mattresses being burned.
Yeah.
And turned over dumpsters.
Are the Vandecott French at heart? With their love of the riot?
Do you think with the advent of the mattress, let's just call it the internet mattress, the internet's favorite mattress, even.
The shippable mattress in a box age.
You think we're burning a lot fewer mattresses these days? Just because, God, they're so heavy and probably really difficult to light on fire if you wanted to.
Once they're out of the box, they're very cumbersome to move around,
Yeah.
You kind of want to unwrap that thing in situ.
I cannot imagine an amount of riotous energy in me that would get me to strip my mattress, the sheets off of it, somehow like cowboy walk it through a door, and you got to like fold it over to get it through a door, like dragging it out into the street. I'm burning anything else besides a mattress. I'm just going to say that.
There are so many pieces of IKEA furniture. Like, do we have to do the mattress?
Does it make me less of a rioter if I don't want to volunteer my mattress to this cause?
I don't want to no true Scotsman your enjoyment of a good old-fashioned violent uprising in the streets, Adam.
In this case, would it be like a no true Sealy? As in like the Posturepedic?
Yeah, I think mine's a Comfortpedic. Is that worse? Do I have a down market Sealy?
I don't think so. I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's all just owned by private equity and made out of the cheapest, shittiest stuff possible.
Everyone's looking at this smoke. They're Asencia, her henches, and the henches are like, Asencia, maybe don't do this.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to talk her out of her evil plan.
No! 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 Launch the invasion!
This is not a debate. When you're the girl boss and you've got a plan, you've got a button.
Yeah.
And you want to hit that button more than anything.
It's like, this is not going to stop me from hitting the button. It only makes me want to hit it more and now. And they're going to have to open so many wormholes for this button to do what it does. Because what she's decided to do is launch all of the ships that she has manufactured with all of their death knocks to all of the Federation targets that have been identified as sensitive sites that they would want to hit in a first strike context. And there's like a Lobot guy who's like, we're going to tear subspace apart, Lisa. And she's like, don't call me Lisa. My name is Asencia.
Don't worry about it. I still love you.
What are the most sensitive parts? If you were to like take the Federation and turn it over on its back, what are the most sensitive parts of the Federation that you would want to attack with these ships, do you think? Besides Earth being the obvious, Sector 001.
Sector
We've seen it a
001.
million times.
Vulcan's gone, right? Or is Vulcan? No, Vulcan's gone in Kelvin, but not in this timeline.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Vulcan's a good vote.
Yeah, I think we get Earth, Vulcan, Andor, and wherever the Tuskmen come from.
Right.
Got to get those 4. I think,
Tuskman Prime.
yeah, Fleet Museum,
Yeah.
full of ships of various configurations that might be immune to the various modern things that we have available to us.
Of course.
Let's see.
Regular one.
Regular one. Probably want to take out the area where Girardi BQ is watching that hole.
The Daystrom Institute.
Yeah. Is that in Okinawa?
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking of the secret base too, like full of secret stuff. What is that? The Daystrom secret layer?
Yeah. They've got like black sites or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, how good is Asencia's intel operation? She only just took over this government. She's still probably rooting out the deep state. You know?
Is Death Knock the one, like you're interacting with AI? You're like, hey, Death Knock, if I were to turn over the Starfleet, the Federation, and like look at its soft underbelly, what nipples do I want to attack?
Right.
And Death Knock takes that as something to generate.
But that's, like then you get an answer that sounds super confident and like 75% of the sites that it lists don't even exist, but you don't know to look that up because you just assume you're getting good information back.
We lost one of our attack ships near Delta Rana.
I told you to stay away.
This is private property.
We cut to Delta Rana and there's an attack ship in like a rope hanging from a pole.
Upside down.
It's all I know.
I'm a man of special conscience and Kevin McAllister style traps.
I'll never learn.
So these ships start to rise out of the ground, and on Voyager, everyone is freaking out. They're like, oh my God, the fucking number of wormholes, the number of ships. What the fuck have we done? And Wesley's like, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, he's not really fitting in with the mood on the bridge here.
Yeah.
It's kind of troubling for everyone around him. It only takes a moment for him to explain himself, though. He's like, no, I'm not the weird one. Here's what I mean. That Asencia has this technology means that the technology exists, not just that she possesses it only. Like, that it exists means that it may also be available to us to use to send Protostar back in time to its right place.
And that's what he was trying to do this entire time. And Rock kind of finishes the sandwich, which is that they can merge all of the wormhole rifts and their energy into one super wormhole that's also temporal in nature.
Could you imagine?
I mean, you're going to need some chronotons. I know that.
Time travel.
I mean, enormous. Big and temporal.
A big, beautiful hole, if you will.
Majel and Zero don't like these odds, and when you hear Rock Talk say it, you're like, this seems too complex for a bunch of kids and one starship to figure out. But the case is made that bad odds are better than no odds at all, right? So why don't we try?
Might as well try.
There seems to be a theme over the course of many episodes, right? Like, oh, the solution we have seems really hard. And then collectively the group was like, hard is better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the case I'm trying to make at home all the time. Semi-hard is better than nothing.
Like, we can still work with semi-hard.
Yeah. What we can't work is with me, with my head in my hands on the corner of the bed.
Right.
Can't work with that.
And, as much as this snake is down to eat ass, I'm less psyched about it. Let me take this into the other room and put it back in the terrarium while we're talking about it, just so we don't forget.
We both hit the spin bike today.
The greatest trick
is yet to come.
Janeway gives a true captain speech, an admiral speech, I guess you have to call it. And the proteges do a heroic walk back toward the protostar, back in uniform, back as a crew. And when they get over to the protostar, this is like a subset of them go over to the protostar. And we're talking about, we've got to put this thing back exactly the way it was when it was found in Tars Lamora. That's the only way to redo this. But meanwhile, Rock, Zero, Majel, and Wes go into... I mean, this sort of reminded me of the astrometrics lab. It's just like kind of a laboratory space where they can do all of their beautiful mind math. And the rest of the OA team is going to go trick out the whole transmitter.
What you're describing is the holodeck, right? They're using the holodeck for this purpose?
Oh, yeah, I guess it is the holodeck. That's a good point.
In that way, it kind of streamlines your ship build, right? Like, what do I need to make a bunch of departments for? What if I just make a couple of holodecks and those holodecks are all the departments?
Why is the ship not just all holodecks?
Great call. I mean, with modern technology, it's weight and expense.
That's probably what it is, right?
Gotta be.
That and they don't want a bunch of Barclays in Starfleet.
Poor broccoli.
Like, it would be too attractive to too freaky of people to join.
You don't want a bunch of Barclays.
No.
That's how you get a bunch of Barclays.
Yeah. Like moths to the flame. So the two ships plunge toward Solum. Very exciting kind of free fall sequence as they go past all of these ships that are taking off.
A real going against the traffic feel
Yeah.
of things, too.
Hologram Janeway and Chakotay are on the bridge of the protostar, kind of settling some of the confusion we had about what went on in the 10 years, because this is old married couple sniping that they are doing at each other.
You think I don't know that?
Sometimes I wonder.
What's with you? You've been on me all day.
Is Chakotay's role in life just to get his balls clobbered?
Sounds great.
Because I saw this scene as very sad for him.
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, it's way sadder when you realize why Hologram Janeway is so mad at him.
Yeah. You could say it's natural to have issues with Chakotay's piloting of the ship at this point. But, like, is now really the time, as we're in this,
Hard to say.
bring it up?
Yeah.
Holo Janeway's admission here is like, hey, be careful with the ship, because if we lose the ship, we lose me. And there are implications to that make me deeply uncomfortable. And this is the moment Holo Janeway brings it up.
Yeah. The away team beams down to the surface, which is great. That's where they're going. But they're not right at the tower where Asencia is doing all of her evil shit from. And that's not good. They're going to have to do a lot of climbing.
Always with the climbing.
Yeah, always. And they're getting ready to do this, and Gwyn's armband fails to keep her in phase for a second, which always seems to kind of take her breath away, too. It's like, it seems to like either hurt or overwhelm her in some way. There's a lot of like, oh my God, like can you even do this, Gwyn? And she's like, I'll be fine.
Are you often surprised when bad dad is in a scene? I'm like, oh, this is a pretty standard issue Dustbuster Club here. We got the folks necessary to do the mission, and bad dad.
Oh, Iltharan came. Oh.
Yeah. So as blurpy as Gwyn becomes here, like she kind of steadies herself, and then they're able to get down to work.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Team Mathlete is up on Voyager A, talking through the process of taking a bunch of wormholes and making them one wormhole to the past while the universe is being ripped to pieces. And like there's the needle in a haystack metaphor gets brought up. It's a lot of variables to keep track of, a lot of complex stuff that they're going to have to work through.
Did you get it? Do you need to get it fully to get the story? I'm not asking maybe for us as specifically as again, I'm like trying to advocate for a kid watching this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of graph paper type drawing being projected in this room in a way that could be pretty confusing. Not for me, because I get this completely. I'm just talking about a kid with like less of a grasp of space geometry.
I mean, but isn't that sort of the point of season 2 of Star Trek Prodigy, is kind of make fun of a kid that hasn't read Temporal Mechanics 101?
It is. That's the whole point.
That's a leitmotif that runs through the whole season. It's like if you didn't catch on at the beginning, you're going to feel like an idiot at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely not happening to me.
Right.
Clearly. And you.
No.
I'm sure.
I for sure 100% understood everything that Rock Talk said.
Yeah. What do you make of the speed of Asencia ships making for these wormholes? I feel like what they're doing here is conveying their size by making them move kind of slowly and then let that giant space locomotive kinetic energy style, like things feel big and slow.
Yeah.
When these things make for the wormholes.
They're going through these holes.
So many wormholes.
And one of them is going right through to Earth. Like we cut to the surface of the Earth and see this thing starting to show up in the sky over Starfleet Command. And I feel like the scale of the ship is conveyed by its slovenliness going through these holes.
But like as these attack ships depart, Voyager A is doing a pretty great job of like doing strafing runs, knocking out ships that are partially or almost entirely through the holes, and then they'll like fall back down, not being able to go all the way through. Quantum torpedoes are being shot to and fro.
I also thought the sound design in this was great. Like the Solemn ships themselves sound huge, but I also thought Voyager A's like size relative to them and also relative to the Protostar was really beautifully accomplished, partly through just the way the ships sound interacting with each other.
I think we might be getting to a point here now that we're at the end where Star Trek Prodigy may be one of the best sounding Star Trek series we've ever had.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
It's really great stuff. It's part of what it does best.
Yeah.
But the question in this moment is, we don't have infinite torpedoes, right? Like we're kind of firing a lot of these things, Admiral.
The rapidity of hits between Admiral Janeway saying, I can do this all day, to Admiral Janeway saying, how many quantum torpedoes do we have left?
Not nearly enough.
It's really bracing.
Yeah.
So much for your bluff, Admiral.
Look, they don't have an infinite amount. And at the pace that Asencia is making these ships, it doesn't seem like that's going to work long term as a plan.
Yeah.
We need to score a lot of Latin fast.
Licensed businessmen.
Well, this is a new ship. She's got the right name. She's got the right name. Now you remember that, you hear? Now you remember that, you hear?
Speaking of things in abundance, unlike the quantum torpedoes, the mathletes are overwhelmed by the number of variables they have to solve for. And that's just a brief stopover as we cut back down to the surface, where the surface team have 20 stories of tower to climb to get to wherever they need to go to reconfigure the transmitter. and the death knocks start coming. And Bad Dad has his redemption arc here. He decides to lay down covering fire as they run further up the tower.
The answer to this question, probably obvious. What happens if Bad Dad dies? Would that actually be a net positive for the potential conclusion of what happens on Solum?
Is this the Bad Dad of their imprisonment? Like, was he radicalized in this moment, but then became Bad Dad and had to play that role for years and years and years so that Gwyn could be set up to save her people or whatever?
Exactly. This is what I'm thinking about as Bad Dad lays down covering fire, allowing the rest of the mathletes to make their way up the thing. Like, does he want to give himself up? What value does he have on his own life? I don't know.
Yeah. And then younger Asencia also has to but she fucking does believe in the evil scheme. By the time she's Asencia that's in control of Solum.
Yeah, that's it exactly.
She went fucking crazy, man.
We can't think about this. We got to go back to the protostar.
Yeah.
Chakotay is finally like, why are you acting so messed up towards me, Hollow Janeway? And she finally comes out with it.
Yeah. I can't fight these ships out here and my beloved hologram in here.
Yeah. What would happen to her if the protostar goes back through the time hole is that she'd have her memory erased of everything. And to all the hollows we've heard this from before, like this kind of concern, it's a form of death, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to die.
No. And she doesn't want Chakotay to be the one doing it. And he's like, what, babe? I'll copy you. We'll get you running somewhere else.
That didn't stop you before when you were asking me to put my hands around your hollow throat during. I didn't want to do it. It seemed like something you really, really wanted.
Yeah.
To quote unquote, make it better.
I don't like calling anyone that, much less you. But if that's what you need to get there, I guess I'll do it. I don't know. Talk to my therapist about it later for sure.
We go back to the smart kids having a very different conversation on their end. We got to recap the entirety of the show, Star Trek Prodigy.
I mean, is it that different? Because they're just talking about different holes they've gone through, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? That's true. This is kid-washed, this conversation, though.
Yeah. All of these wormholes existed and had the protostar in them, they realize. And Rock pitches, what if the one remaining wormhole is the wormhole they made along the way? And that becomes the reason that Star Trek Prodigy exists as a television show.
It is very meta. It's very self-aware, this moment. And look, once we collapse all the wormholes into one super wormhole, what if we flew the protostar up that shaft? And, I mean, if we've done our math right, and obviously we have, it's going to end up at the right place at the right time and stitch all the holes in space-time together once it's gone. And that, to me, sounds like a win. Huh, guys?
Sounds pretty good.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get, the computer to line them all up, and it makes a cool new design. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we figured it out. And I was like, okay, I take your word for it. I mean, that is a very pretty design that you made out of those.
It looks very
holes.
Da Vinci to me.
Yeah.
Did you get a little bit of that?
It's Sato.
Yeah, or the little icon next to the electric vehicle charging station to show you what kind of charger you have to use that one, you know? Like all those little kind of circles near each other. That was my association. Anyways, back on the ground, Dal and the gang are still climbing up this tower.
I love that it's got rungs like a telephone pole, you know? Looks familiar.
Yeah. They find the computer that they need to put the coordinates in, and now the math team has done their math, they've got those coordinates, they're putting them in, and then, oh no, Death Knock and Asencia start shooting, and because they were shooting at this computer, they hit it, and it's out. And they got to ascend Asencia even higher.
He did it.
To put the coordinates in right at the base of the disk itself. What do you call that? Satellite disk? Dish? Not disk. Fuck.
Yeah, you got it.
Satellite dish.
When it's Gwyn versus Asencia in a sword fight, it's got real Uma Thurman, Lucy Liu in Kill Bill vibes.
It does.
I thought.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Are we feeling our whole self today?
It's a final fight. Gwyn tries to use like force powers to get her heirloom back from Asencia, but for all the head glowing, it doesn't work. So she has to grab a pipe instead, and that is, to start with fighting with pipe and to add armband glitching and phasing in and out of reality to your list of handicaps is not ideal.
She's a hard pipe hitting Vanakat.
Yeah.
I think she is.
And I think Zed is going to get what he deserves from her.
Yeah.
They do a lot of falling very, very long distances in this fight.
For sure.
There's like a number of kind of like landing platforms maybe on this tower, and they kind of fall from one to the next as this fight proceeds.
They aren't like the catch net for safety that you'd see at like bridges or scenic overlooks or whatever. These are like exhaust manifolds for energy systems and stuff. Like there is no soft landing when you fly off one of these ledges.
Yeah. Jankum hits the big red button because he and the rest of the gang have gotten to the upper thing, and now they're causing the transmitter to transmit this new math that the mathletes came up with. But a cable comes undone right at the critical moment, and I thought that was a very sweet little homage to Back to the Future, which it was on my mind because I went to the Universal Fan Fest nights and saw the reenactment of the last 30 minutes of Back to the Future there.
Here's you and me. I'm crossing my fingers.
Hell yeah.
We thought the same thing here.
Yeah.
Who's going to Doc Brown the Watchtower, though? It's not going to be Chaos Murph.
No.
Who's busy fighting a death knock.
But Chaos Murph, could just touch either end of the cable and have the electricity run through his birdie, and it wouldn't hurt or anything, right?
He doesn't want to.
Yeah. He's too busy having a great old time fighting a death knock.
This fight is a form of running interference so that Dal can climb the ladder to become the Doc Brown of the situation.
Something's got to be done about your kids, Gwyn.
In a fight between a Chaos Murph and a Death Knock, Crazy usually wins fights like these.
Oh, yeah.
Like the one who's willing to fight Crazy, the one who's willing to die maybe the most.
Yeah.
That's Chaos Murph here.
Willing to die and yet unkillable. The scrappiest, wildest fighter you ever did see.
Yeah. Dragging that Death Knock off the side of the spire and into the glow of something that looks pretty lethal by the time this thing falls into it.
Kind of feels like Murph sacrificed it all to save the day. But no, this is Chaos Murph.
There's no Terminator 2 moment where Murph slowly is dropped into the lava and his blue hand turns into a thumb before finally being submerged.
I feel like if it was Murph's blue hand, it would be a middle finger and not a thumb. You know? Wait, what?
Jack off hand?
Yeah, he told us to go fuck ourselves, as his last message after saving the day? What are we supposed to take away from that?
You know, Murph died how he lived. That's just so Murph.
So chaos.
That's why I love the guy.
Yeah.
True to the end.
Uh-huh. He doesn't die. He's fine.
Yeah, he's okay.
Speaking of falling from great heights that look like they should be lethal are the ones that Gwyn and Asencia keep falling from. And Gwyn, takes Asencia down with her off this last ledge. And now they're all the way at the bottom of the spire and still fighting. And Asencia kind of explains what her damage is to Gwyn, which is that she lived through the destruction of Solem in her reality. Like, she has the trauma and the memory of that horrible series of events. So even if Gwyn and gang do stop it in this reality, it doesn't matter for this Asencia. She already had the bad experience. And therefore, like, go fuck yourself if you think you're going to stop me.
It's such a mindfuck because, like, yes, Asencia went through something horrible, but that there is a way to proactively, preventatively, like, stop that from ever happening.
Yeah.
You could argue, on the one hand, that you could stop it from happening so that it never happened, but the trauma remains.
Right.
Are you still traumatized by a thing that never happened?
That unhappened?
Yeah. I think this might be just tough love. I think you got to get over that. It never happened.
You got to rub some fucking dirt on it, Asencia.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
She's got her knife to Gwyn's throat as Dal gets the antenna plugged in. He falls. Looks like he's going to die, having heroically sacrificed himself. But no, Chaos Murph, once again, stops anything truly operatic from happening.
He gets impaled on Chaos Murph's extended middle finger.
Oh no, we lost both of them. And in such a random and hard to interpret way.
I thought it was a kid show.
All the 9-year-olds in the audience just have like tears streaming down their face. Like, why? Why?
We cut up to orbit and Asencia's fleet disappears. And sure as shit, like as was predicted, one master wormhole is created.
Yeah. All of those ships that were like halfway through the holes got cut in half as those holes got taken away. And this is a pretty new wormhole. Looks very much like the Deep Space Nine wormhole in a favorable way, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
The people of Solem, including Iltharan, who I guess successfully beat off all those killer robots, even though he's a feeble old weirdo that has no combat experience.
Good decision by the show not to show that fight scene too much.
And young Asencia, not evil Asencia, are among the many members of the Vaunacat who gather to offer their will to Gwyn so that she has enough force power to take over the heirloom that Asencia is wielding at her. Asencia's final moment, maybe, it seems, is like burning out her Vaunacat powers, trying to wield the heirloom at Gwyn.
The sharing of the power feels very I Am Spartacus. It feels very Neo becoming powerful enough to defeat Agent Smith, you know?
Yeah.
Like the belief in yourself, even when you've got a sharp object pointed at your head.
Yeah.
That like you can marshal enough energy or strength to survive. And it takes the collective energy of all these folks given to Gwyn to make this happen.
She is glowing like a fucking light bulb with all of their...
Is this permanent?
Oh, you think the glow's never going to go away? Like...
I mean, when you give Gwyn your strength, do you also like, you can borrow that for a second, but I'm going to need that strength back, you know?
Because those elders, like the Vaunacat elders are part of the group of people that lend will. They don't seem like they give up will easily, you know?
No, they're going to need that back.
Yeah.
Before bed, preferably.
Yeah. And hopefully the glow does die down after that, because I'm just thinking like trying to sleep in a room next to somebody that glows like, Dal's going to have to find someone else, right?
That would suck so bad. I've never thought of this before. Like, what if you glowed? It would actually suck. It would suck so bad. Like, you're in a car driving at night and you're like, I cannot see out of the windshield. Like, the glare is insane. You're on an airplane. They're like, hey, could you close your window shade? It's me. I'm glowing.
Yeah, the shade is closed. I'm sorry. I'll ask the flight attendant for one of their weird blankets that's in a plastic bag.
That would be the worst.
Yeah. So they got to send the protostar back now through this hole. Chakotay, having finally had it beaten into his head by hologram Janeway what this means, is a little bit sad about it. But, they get a hail from the wormhole.
I love this moment because it teases maybe good news. Like, oh, there's a signal coming from the wormhole. Like, what could it mean? Probably something good, right?
Yeah.
Wrong!
We won Publishers Clearinghouse or something.
If you guessed the Loom, cash your ticket.
So much the Loom coming through this wormhole. Like, it just looks like a black cloud because it's so much the Loom, you know? It's like carrier pigeons over the middle of the country back before they were all killed off.
Hey, where was the Loom in all these Miriam wormholes that they made?
Fucking lazy asses.
They didn't want any of those.
Just waiting for us to do all the work of putting together one big wormhole for them.
Maybe we'll find out in the finale episode, but what do the Loom even want?
They just want to take everything apart.
Eventually, they're going to destroy so much that they destroy themselves, right?
Oh, do you think that, like, it will be a very touching final episode about the Loom realizing that just, like, their voracious consumption of realities is them trying to fill a hole that can't really be filled?
It's a commercial fishing allegory at its core. Like, 2 seasons of Star Trek Prodigy has led us to its ultimate message. Let's not overfish the oceans.
Yeah. Aaron Waltke watched the Deadliest Catch season after season and just got radicalized. Like, these fucking guys, like, they're fucking killing themselves to catch these crabs and they're fucking crabbing to extinction.
You see one documentary with a dolphin hunt and it changes your entire creative output ever since. Did you like this episode, Ben?
She'll always bring it home.
I like this episode. Yeah, I mean, it's like very much feeling like we got to tag the sub bosses of the bad guys before we get to the big bad, and the big bad is the Loom. And I'm curious to see how much we learn about the Loom in the next and final ever episode of Star Trek Prodigy. Maybe. I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, we both read that news that Aaron Waltke got that brand new showrunner job.
Yeah. Very happy for him.
Absolutely. But one wonders if that ends this thing for sure and forever.
Who knows?
I like the episode too because I think it just does the thing that Prodigy does best. It establishes a problem that seems insurmountable, and even though it's hard, the kids gather to try to fix it because to not try is a form of failure worse than trying and failing, you know?
Yeah.
The kids do it. We get all the great sound design and visual effects that we've come to enjoy this season. We get an absolutely chaotic Murph episode here, which are among my favorites.
Tremendous.
I don't think we'll ever figure out what that guy's deal is. Pretty good at, but hard to judge fairly given what is to come, a possible series finale right after. I mean, how could this not be overshadowed?
Yeah.
Already thinking about it.
Yeah. Excited for the exciting 2.5-hour final episode.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to pack a lunch for that.
Do you want to see if there's 2.5 hours worth of material in our Priority 1 inbox?
I'm going to pack a lunch for this.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Then we got a Priority 1 message here from Guy. This is getting old English.
Oh.
I like the way I read it. Like, this is getting old English. You've had times like that, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. I've had 40-ounce times like that.
That's what I'm saying.
If not more. You know what? There was a girl that went to a high school near mine who there was a rumor that her dad was the CEO of Old English.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Very curious about that girl, but, you know.
You're talking about Ron English?
Yeah, maybe this is Guy English's sister. I don't know.
That's stolen malt liquor valor is what that is. All right, this one's going out to everyone who loves comedy, which maybe means this should be on a different show. Here's that message. And we really kind of blew the preamble to something sincere here. So here's that message. Loretta Swit has passed away. You're maybe a decade out of step, but I suspect Bill knows MASH deeply.
Yes.
Without her talent, that show could never have worked. An unsung hero of comedy and performer. Make her S.
Wow. I thought that this was going to be another con segment when we started this. But yeah, Loretta Swit, what a great one. She will be missed.
I think it is great to memorialize folks on the Priority One messages. That's just one of the many ways you can have us read something special for you. MaximumFun.org/Jumbotron is where you go to kick it off, and then we'll take it from there. They go a long way in supporting the production of our shows.
They do. Hey, Adam.
What's up, Ben?
Did you find yourself a bonus Frank?
Bonus Frank!
Bonus Frank!
Bonus Frank!
Bonus Frank! Bonus
When Rock Talk does that accidental I love you before beaming down the crew to Solemn.
Good luck down there. Love you.
We love you too, Rock. Now, let's finish what we started.
It reminded me when, like, as a kid, you'd accidentally call your teacher mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm talking to an authority figure, and I'm just not thinking about who I'm talking to, so I'm, like, having that kind of interaction in my mind.
Yeah.
I love you in this context is like that, too. Yes, I believe Rock Talk actually feels this way, but it also feels like a word vomit thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like she's not controlling her saying of this, and I just thought that was really cute and fun and worthy of a Barnus Rex for me.
Rock Talk is for sure the kind of rock monster that goes up and hugs the wrong pair of legs in the grocery store.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Ben?
I got to give it to Iltharan for being the rearguard action on their retreat up the spire. Like, I don't know what could possibly have possessed him to think that he could safely defend himself or anyone else against death knocks, like, and a veritable onslaught. And I think that there's something pretty funny in the animation of him, because when it cuts to the wide shot of the kids like running away to go up the next round of stairs or whatever, his phaser fire is all over the fucking place. It is not connecting with the stuff he is aiming at.
Yeah, it's real MacGruber shit that he's deploying here. I think we've been brought up like over the course of decades to assume that when an older character lays down cover fire or hops into an acid lake to walk a boat full of younger folks away from an exploding volcano, like, old people sacrifice for the young in movies and TV in a way that read to me in this case like, damn, bad dad. RSVP bad dad.
But
no. Yeah.
He made it. Good for him. Maybe he'll have another opportunity to self-sacrifice next week.
We can only hope. One sacrifice that FODs have made over the course of Greatest Trek is telling other folks that they should listen to our show. We call these opportunities morning bois, and they are examples of folks getting out into the internet streets and telling others about our show to grow the audience.
Yes.
Prepare a buoy and launch it when ready.
Warning buoys.
An emergency buoy.
A warning buoy.
Ben, I've got a 5-star review here on Podcast Addict. Is this one of those ones that notifies you immediately when there's a review happening, no matter if it's day or night?
I'm not getting push notifications from this one, but I think we should probably say, if you're struggling with podcast addiction, you know, our heart goes out to you and your family, because this is a social disease and it affects more than just you. And we hope you'll seek the help of a qualified medical or psychiatric professional.
Perhaps a form of amends that Podcast Addict user Gobi Italic is doing here is this description of our work. Loving the recaps of Prodigy S2, no other Trek podcast makes casual references to the Interesting Times gang.
This, of course, in reference to the great sci-fi author Ian M. Banks, who actually on our smash hit patrons only podcast, Wholesome, I introduced some of the works of Ian M. Banks to you and the Goose, and talked about how much I love them. Interesting times, gang. One of my favorite parts of that series.
See, I knew you'd like that warning, bois.
Love that warning, bois. Thank you, Gobi Italic, for taking the time to leave it. And thanks to everyone who leaves a nice 5-star review somewhere on the internet for this show. Really helps.
Sure does. You know who helps just as much, if not more? Our producer.
That's true.
Doing a great job week in and week out. Gonna throw the keys to the show to Wynde at this point, who will take you through the credits. Thanks, Wynde.
Bye-bye.
Greatest Trek is an Uxbridge Shimoda podcast on the Maximum Fun Network. It's hosted by Ben Harrison and Adam Pranica, and it's produced and edited by Wynde Priddy. Ben and Adam will be back next week with a review of the finale of Star Trek Prodigy Season 2. It's episode 20 called Ouroboros Part 2. The cadets fight Asencia in a battle for control of Solum and the future, but a sudden invasion by a destructive species complicates their endgame. Thanks so much to all the members who make a monthly contribution to help support this show. Members get a new bonus episode every month in return, as well as access to the entire back catalog of bonus content. It's quick to set it up at MaximumFun.org/join, and we really appreciate your support. Thanks to Nick Dittmore, who created the show art, and Adam Ragusia, who composed the theme music. Thanks to Rob Adler and Bill Tilley for their work on the @GreatestTrek social media pages. Find those accounts and give them a follow, and be sure to use the hashtag #GreatestTrek when you post about the show. We're also on YouTube, so subscribe to the channel there, and you can find all of the fun merch at podshop.biz. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on Greatest Trek.
Maximum Fun,
A worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
supported
Directly
by you.